A freak accident that really changed everything. 20 years in the making and much more. Welcome back to Resto Revival. This is Nigel's Custom Trike. I'm your host Will. Let's get into it. So here we are, Nigel.
Yes.
Thank you for your time. This is slightly different to the normal vehicles we stand between. So tell us, I know it's not a short story, but tell us what we have here.
Right, it's what you would call a custom built trike. It's based around the Austin Metro engine. It's a 998cc engine.
Yeah.
1985, I'm led to believe, and it was converted to a trike in 97.
Yeah.
Or registered as a trike in 97. Supposedly constructed on the logbook by a firm called Shed Engineering.
Okay.
And when I first bought it, it certainly lived up to its name. Terrible wiring on it, constantly overheating, and it looked nothing like the trike you see today.
Yeah. The
front frame has been custom made to bolt up to the subframe off the Metro. The front end's been changed, the tank's been changed from the original, seats, mud guards. The only thing that is original, actually, that's not been touched is the subframe itself.
Yeah.
The engine's all been rebuilt, gearbox has been rebuilt, all new rubbers, everything. It's virtually had a nut and bolt rebuild on it. Front end change.
Yeah.
Front end was like 2 matchsticks, which have got 4-inch risers on. Never looked right, was never happy with it, and I knew underneath was a decent looking trike, which is here now. The front end's Motor Guzzi 1000 California, around 2002.
Yeah.
The front wheel I had to have re-spoked because there was a slight damage on the front wheel. When I looked into it, it couldn't be repaired. So hence the front wheel was re-spoked. The centre hub's original on it, and basically this is how it is at this moment in time. Still got a few jobs to do. Seat needs recovering and an inner panel made. There's still a few bits I need to powder coat where I've had to make alterations, like the front brake, the pedal for the rear brake. That had to be altered because once I started running it, I found it wasn't quite in the right position,
Yeah.
so I had to alter it. That again needs powder coating.
Yeah.
But basically, it's about there now.
Yeah.
It is. The tank's off at Honda, but I had to make the binnacle for the switches and everything because as people that know bikes will know that's not standard.
Yeah.
But basically, with the odd exception of an odd bit of welding, I've done all the alterations myself over 3.5 years.
Yeah. That's a long project.
Yeah.
So why custom trike? You must have considered just going out and buying one off the shelf. Why?
Cost.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trikes out there, very good trikes. I could have gone for the manufactured trikes, but I don't know. It was just something. I've always been hands-on as much as I can be with any vehicle I've had, be it cars or bikes. And originally, a friend of mine had this, and I was going to repair it for him, get it running properly. But unfortunately, he had to sell it, so I bought it off him as a project. And it's took me, when did I acquire it? 2005.
Right.
So it's took me from 2005 through 3 or 4 variations to get it to the trike I always knew was in there.
Yeah.
Which is
And this
virtually this one.
20 years in the making.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's quite incredible. So I said in my intro, the reason you went from trikes is because of quite a very serious accident.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say that you nearly died?
Not quite. If the bar had been a few inches further over, it's highly probable, they told me.
Yeah.
But it left me with a serious depressed skull fracture, damaged all the muscles, nerves and tendons in my neck, depression, of the neck bones and that, crush injuries and that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was off work for a long, long time. And
Yeah.
it took me a long time to get something like again.
Yeah.
It did. It's left me with issues that you do get with head injuries, memory problems. I can do something 1 minute, not remember how to do it the next. Hence why it's taken me so long.
Do you think you forgot what you did to the bike and you had to almost revisit your notes?
Yeah. I mean, when I rebuilt the engine, I took that many photos and that made that many notes.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to do it myself purely to prove I could do it.
Yeah.
Plus the pleasure you get in doing something yourself. I mean, when I ride this now, I think I did this.
Yeah.
And people that take on projects like this,
Yeah.
there are a love-hate relationship with them. When it's going great, you love it. When you're running into problem after problem after problem, you tend to hate it, but you need to push through. You do, and it's therapy for me.
Yeah.
It has been, in all honesty, a form of therapy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It has.
I've spoken to a lot of people, and whatever life throws at people,
Yeah.
this can always be the sort of constant that
Well,
you distract yourself
That's
from.
right.
and-
I went on to Trike mainly because I can't ride motorbikes anymore. Again, because of the damage to my neck and shoulders. So a friend of mine that had a serious accident, he converted his ZL1000 Eliminator into a Trike. He had a firm in Doncaster do the back end conversion for him. And he was on at me for a while. Oh, get a Trike, nice, get a Trike. No, old man's sort of vehicle. No, you're a biker, not Trike. But
Yeah.
I wished I bought one years ago. I do. I really do enjoy it. It's a completely different way of riding. People tend to give you room, and you don't feel you've got to rush on it.
Yeah.
You just enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
You don't need to wear leathers. You don't need to wear an helmet in this country, only if you go into Ireland or Europe. So the sense of freedom it gives you, it's unparalleled.
Yeah.
It's better than driving an open-top sports car.
And what would you say to, I imagine, lots of bike skeptics that watch this to think, nah, that's, I'd never go on a Trike. What?
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I said that for years.
Yeah.
But it's the best thing I've done.
Yeah.
It is. I enjoy riding it far more than I did the bike. You don't have to concentrate the same as you do on a bike. When you're on a bike, you have to ride as if everything out there is trying to kill you. It doesn't matter whether it's on the road, on the pavement, or whatever. The level of concentration you have to have, and anticipation what other people are going to do. You've still got to be aware of everything, but you don't get that same feeling as if you've got to be that concentrated all the while. Although it's the same as driving a car, you still need to be concentrated.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But on a bike, it's so much higher.
Yeah, I always wonder that because as a non-biker, I imagine that if I was to ride a bike, I'd be constantly just anticipating someone pulling out in front of me and all those sorts of things. So,
I mean, funnily enough, when I'm in the car or on the Trike, I tend to observe the same as I did on a bike. I mean, I was riding bikes from 17-year-old, and I tend to look through cars at junctions, look through the windows at junctions, especially on islands, look through the windows on a car that's on the outside, see what's coming up the inside. Junctions, everything, even lights, pulling away from lights, look into each junction to see what's happening. And it's conditioning.
This is on really low mileage, isn't it? Because
it's since I've rebuilt it, it's done 374 miles. It's I've not even had a chance to run it in properly yet. Although I did take it November and have it tuned. It was last on the road 2013 was its last MOT.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And it's took me from then till now, through life and one thing or another, moving about, to actually get it to where I could say, right, that's all I'm concentrating on now. And I say that was about 3.5 years ago. It was MOT'd September last year. Then I was taken ill again, and I've only just started actually getting on it and getting out on it. I've still got a few jobs to do. Like I say, the seat needs to be finished. I've got a bit of paint work to tidy up. Bit of that needs powder coating still. But all in all, it's done. Till I decide to change it again.
Queue another 10 years.
Hopefully not. I mean, the radiator I had custom made by a brilliant guy in Eastwood, custom radiators.
Yeah.
When I wasn't sure of anything, I asked the people in the know.
Yeah.
I mean, Jim across the road, he gave me a lot of help. He did with bits and pieces that weren't going right when I was doing the final rebuild.
Yeah.
He sort of came up with suggestions for, well, why don't you try this? But essentially, I've done it virtually 99% of it myself.
I think this trike is a testament to what is actually possible.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a real sort of mismatch of every type of car, bike, manufacturer.
The description on the registration document is manufacturer Shed Engineering, constructed from parts, some old, some new. And that's the sum total of it.
There you go.
And it literally is at Heinz 57.
There you go.
It's more of a Frankenstein than... It's any bits that are about that's just been thrown together.
Yeah.
I didn't want to make it perfect. I wanted to show its life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's part of it.
Yes.
The gearbox, I stripped that all down and sent the drives over to a guy in Northampton, Martin. He machined all new drive plates for the gearbox for me because it is automatic.
Yeah.
The engine, I had all the engine work done at Mansfield Engineering, Mansfield Engine Builders. They rebored it for me, got me new pistons, new rings, new bearings and everything. So basically it's been a nut and bolt rebuild from the bottom up. It has. It's virtually, it's a new engine in an old shell.
Yeah.
And I think the last MOT had something like 48,000 mile on it before I rebuilt the engine. So this engine and gearbox has done less than 400 mile as it stands at the moment.
It's amazing. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. So we'll have a quick look at the engine. You can talk us through it, and then nervously, he says, we'll go out in it.
Yeah.
Great.
You see, it's 998cc Austin Metro A+ engine. The exhaust downpipe I made myself. It's a motorbike silencer that's on it. The engine, as I say, that is just a cleaned up engine that's been clear coated. I spent many hours mulling over what colour to do it. I didn't want the frame black because that's general. It's a black powder coat, but it's had like metal flake clear coat over the top.
Yeah.
So it's turned it grey, like a grey. The tank and the mud guards I made all myself and all the framework for it. That was specially made up for me at a paint shop in Alfreton, and they put high-grade metallic flake in.
Yeah.
They did. So when the sun hits it, it's something else. The back end, everything's been replaced on it. Yeah. There's nothing on it that hasn't been replaced. When I originally got it and stripped it down for the first time, the hydroelastic spheres just simply exploded. So I got 2 monoshocks off of a Honda, and I just had the mounts figured out and just went straight off the original mounts off the upper control arm. But I've since found there's a guy that does a conversion that sits in the actual where the helicals went. So eventually I'm going to convert it to that.
Right. Fantastic. Let's take it on the road and see what it's like.
Well, I'll fire it up and we'll have a quick spin.
Yeah.